Hello, everybody, and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael, and I believe we're on episode 16, so getting near the finish of Three Towers. And I'm excited to get near the end. Also, anytime you work on a park for a while, you kind of get used to playing that park. But a couple things I want to point out here as we start the video. First off is last video I mentioned that um, remote controlled had suggested that I make this a larger, or I guess a more um, a larger post, and that was actually the initial person that actually suggested it was Wolf Raging 95. So I really apologize for misremembering that because then remote controlled, who some of you might know from um, Facebook photos from Harry Dodd's park, is he then recommended using the cylinder pieces. Um, and I am going to place some cement there. What I'm actually, TJ Puffs recommended that I use the round temple piece, and I tested it out and it looks really good. I'm like literally right at 100% right now. So I got to delete these other two coasters to get some more percent left to finish up. But I wanted to show you something that I didn't quite get around to on the last video with the coaster. And so, I mean, I love how I think that looks good with how wide or the thickness of that post right there, that support. Because the other one, this was the small cylinder piece, and the next level, the medium, was just way too large. So yeah, and let's see. So if we come this way, I'm not going to show you that area to the right yet because I'm not completely done with it. So we'll get to that in the update in a second. But we saw this last time. Um, I got some recommendations on some things I can do here, so I'll probably look to change that. But if we move to nighttime, one thing I did is I got a recommendation from remote control to change the color of the lighting underneath the coaster to match the lights on the lift hill. And so that's what I tried to do to the best I could, try to match that kind of orangish color. And so I guess it kind of fits in with the Halloween season. So this could be the Halloween special in terms of what they do with the coaster track. But what I wanted to show you guys was, oh, hold on. Okay, it is that one, yeah. So let's see. And this is all thanks to Iron Matty, and I'll explain why in a second. So yeah, we now have an official on-ride photo session, and I think it looks absolutely, I think it looks fantastic. And I felt like this was the best area to place it because it's where you can't really see that it's coming as a rider, in terms of um, being able to see it earlier on in the track and stuff. And I said this thanks to Iron Matty because he made a YouTube video. It was a really short video too, so I'll make sure to put the link in the description about how you can trigger lights to make it look like it's an on-ride photo session and doing the constant flashing. And so you'll see as we watch this coaster come back over, it ended up working out perfectly because it flashes and gets essentially every part of the coaster train. And so I really love how that ended up. And as I said, I have a little more work to do before I want to show what I completed this episode. So I'll go ahead and finish working on that, and I'll talk to you guys in a second. All right, so now I've made a little bit more progress, and this will not be a super long episode just because I have to make the last coaster now. And at this point, I'm at 97%, but I still can delete this coaster, get a couple back. And what I'm going to try to do is when I build this coaster, if this coaster that I'm going to build here is more than 3%, then I'm going to switch it out for one of these two coasters here to try to get like that extra 1 or 2%, which can really go a long way down the stretch. But as you can see, a couple things that are new. is kind of a lot of the trees in this station around this coaster, and then this walkway. And I'm really happy with how um, this kind of fencing and stuff has turned out. Now, because this path is not leveled the entire way, there's like slight elevation changes. Um, it just since it's just so annoying that the ceiling, we can't lean the ceiling pieces. So because it's that way, I decided just to kind of keep it a little bit raised up, elevate. If I have enough pieces, I might put like a little border there, but it's no biggie. And as you can see, I really like how this looks. It's just a cement piece with the with that whatever that fencing's called that you get when you're looking at the stairs in the build portion. And I think it looks really nice. And so my goal is to try to have a coaster near the water here that launches, so you can basically be able to sit right here and kind of watch a coaster launch or something like that, and maybe put like some viewpoints or something. So that would kind of be my plan. Still love how this area turned out. Really happy with that. And I continued this over here kind of for this space because since this is where the chain motor's at and stuff, I didn't want it touching the ground or anything. So I've got like a little cement area if the employees need to get down there or anything. Now, the reason why I've got it so close there is because if I were to delete this, there's water underneath. And because of how close this is to the water and how I've already built the fencing, there's not any way for me to dig out a little hole there that's not full of water. And so it kind of, that was poor planning on my part from the beginning. So that really should be down just a little bit more. But I think it still does the job. And you can see the coaster about to dive. So I came up with a name for the coaster, and as you might have already seen from the sign, I've named it Skyfall. Jasmine and I recently went and saw the James Bond movie, and so it kind of gave me that idea, or not necessarily that I got the idea from the James Bond movie, but I was like, oh, well, that name kind of works. And because of it colored green, I decided when you kind of get to this space to, and I just use right there, I just use what's those pieces called? It's like the coconut and colored it brown to make it look like it's kind of got a little mulch. So we've got these doors for the employees, and I decided to change the coloring to kind of match the coaster. And then there's the coaster station, and I'm super happy with this. Love how it turned out. And I'll show you guys at night. I'm really not much of a night builder. I just honestly like. I think one of the things I hate doing the most in this game is placing lights and benches and stuff like that. Like I don't like placing lights unless if it's on a coaster. So I feel like most theme parks are not actually in there at night for the vast majority of the time. But I understand it's necessary. So I still have like half the park that I need to place lights in and stuff, which is not going to be fun. Oh, I need to do a little terrain paint right there. I just noticed. But then we come this way, and we've got the entrance. And I got this idea from Insomniac, and I honestly didn't really even know that we had those pieces to be able to make letters, those kind of signs. So that works really well. And you come in this way, it's kind of cool because you got the little step up elevation there, and I'm gonna try to have the new coaster come this way to some extent, so kind of like while you're waiting in line, you can see it. As you see, I put these little lights just to provide a little bit of light when it's nighttime. There we go. That's a massive loop, and then I put the little chain there and a little coaster support connector to help look like it's holding. Oh, excuse me. Wow, it's like, well, it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm yawning. Wow. All right, so we come along this way, and I've just kind of, what is that right there? Oh, that's the fencing. It's like, what is going on? Um, yeah, so let me just move this a tad bit. There we go. Good enough. Good as new. But yeah, it's like, what in the world? Um, yeah, so now as we come this way, da 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 da, and I've kind of got this fencing kind of goes this way so that if some knucklehead wanted to try to jump the fence, this kind of goes to here because I've fenced off kind of the areas where it gets close to the ground and stuff like that. I should probably connect this fence over here, but not going to worry about it right now in terms of saving the piece counter. So we come around this way, and I still need to terrain paint this just to make it not look so green because like I said before, I realized that I chose the ugliest green possible when starting this park like 4 months ago. So then, even though it's going to cut off their ankles, I just hate how this looks if you don't have it, especially since we have to have the curbs on the elevated. So I decided to use the firehouse roof. And so we come in here, and that's the station. And I do have a little maintenance area over here. So I've got this small transfer track built, and um, some wires and stuff to where, let's see, let me actually shift these over just a tad bit. So I realize now that it's not quite. Oh, that's part of that. All right. Well, I'll just have to. There we go. Yeah, this is part of. There we go. So now it looks like it's going into the track. Yeah, a little maintenance area here. I would deck this out a little bit more, but kind of getting really low on piece count, so probably not going to be too detailed with this. But then here's the employee door, and over here, I've got this, like I said, this staff entrance here. And I had lights on this coaster, as some of you may remember. I have no idea where they went. I think I deleted something by accident that might have been those lights attached to them, and that's really aggravating because that took a while. But oh well. And then over this way, like I said, I placed this fencing along wherever the coaster gets close to the ground. And then the review that I did last week on the Shikra creation or recreation, somebody built these stairs, and so I used that as kind of inspiration, and I moved it over, but I changed up a couple things, made it a little bit taller, changed the coloring, which was a pain, but it was the RowQ 101 was the creator that initially made this, and so that's where I kind of got the idea from because I think it only takes up like 160 pieces, and it looks good as a way for staff or employees to kind of get over to this maintenance area. So I'll have to put some lights up here and stuff. But as you can see, I've only got 3% until I need to delete this coaster. So if I were to delete this right now, so I got about 6.5% left, because you still can use about probably a whole percent once you get to 100, or if not a whole percent, pretty close to it. So, and this is what the station looks like from the elevated view. So absolutely, I mean, I love how it turned out. Now, I did try to take some inspiration for this from, um, oh my goodness, what's his name? The creator's name. Reached 1,000 subscribers recently. Man, I can't believe I'm forgetting this creator's name. Plays on the PC, but he just recently made a dive coaster where it's like a 5 episode series. And he had a station that I kind of took some inspiration from with the design of it. But like everything this creator uses is TMTK. And so, Theme Park Viral. I think is how you pronounce his name. There you go. Really, really amazing coasters, but uses so much TMTK, which we can't use on console. So kind of took some inspiration and idea from that, but I love how it's turned out. So I love to hear your all's thoughts. And as I said, um, I do like, I understand we can put a lot in our parks, but I do think that we are there. The console it could have allowed more, because this is on 97% and it's running flawlessly. I've replayed stuff in this park just trying to smooth stuff out, and it's been pretty flawless as well. And so I feel like they could have allowed a larger percent, but I got to make sure that I manage it well here at the end. And then to show you nighttime, it's kind of an overall night view of the park. I mean, you already see I've got to light up this area and kind of this space over here. Um, so still a lot for me to do with the lights, and but with the space we just did, I believe I showed you all this area last time. So I just kind of hid some lights underneath to kind of give it a nice kind of glow, especially if you're down at guest level right here. And then walking on the queue, you've got these little lights that kind of add enough, but there's also some lights buried there that kind of give a little bit of light to the queue. And then this way, when you come up here, I just hid some underneath. Um, Yeah, so love to hear your thoughts and opinions. This is a little bit shorter of an episode because there wasn't a ton that we were working on. But I will say that when I said I replay stuff, I went back and I still feel like one of the areas that I'm struggle with the most in terms of building a coaster is sometimes smoothing it out to where you really get it looking super smooth. And so I've gone back to these coasters that I've saved and I've started smoothing it out using three increments. And I know I don't do 4 meter coasters, but kind of going back and forth using three segment pieces at a time, and it's worked really well. And so I think the coasters that I had made have become a lot smoother, especially the wooden coaster on that turnaround. And so you guys will get to see that on um, obviously the park tour and final episode. So I've been working on that as well. But as always, thank you guys so much for all your support and love to hear your thoughts and feedback. I do think I'm going to either try a launched vector or a Mac launch coaster here. So still kind of working with that idea and concept. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.